Joining us now, former Defense Secretary William Cohen. Prior to joining the Clinton administration, Secretary Cohen served in Congress for more than 2 decades as a Republican senator and a member of the House Judiciary Committee, where he played a critical role in the Watergate hearings, leading to the resignation of President Nixon. Subsequently, he was a central member of the Iran-Contra Committee, which examined the abuses of power during the Reagan administration.
Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for being with us and offering your unique perspective. All of this as someone who has played pivotal role on both sides of Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm curious your reaction to what you heard last night and the January 6th hearings in general, what they say about the Trump administration, the government's response to that, and warnings for the future.
Well, I would say, first of all, I was inspired. I was inspired by the members of the committee. Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, obviously, and Representative Lauria. They were brilliant, I think, in making that presentation. So it redeemed my faith in the legislative process to have oversight over something so critical to the safety and security of this country. Secondly, I was somewhat depressed. During the course of these hearings, I recall Judge Ludwig, who said that President Trump presents a clear and present danger. I believe that to be the case. I believed it before he took office. I believed it during the time he was in office. I believe it even more after listening to the testimony. Here is the commander-in-chief whose duty it is to protect and defend, and he simply took time out. And it reminded me somewhat of the 18.5-minute gap in the taped conversations that President Nixon had. What was on those 18.5-minute gaps? Well, some of them said an evil force had deleted them. And what we found out, of course, is that Richard Nixon and company of Rose Marie Wood, deleted those 18.5 minutes. And we found out what they basically were trying to do at that time. Here we have a situation where it would be the equivalent of me as Secretary of Defense being told that our troops, let's say in Syria, are under attack. Mr. Secretary, what should we do? And I said, well, by the way, I'm having lunch right now, and I'm talking to my estate planner. And by the way, they're Russians, and they're friends of the president. What would that mean for me? I would be unfit to serve as Secretary of Defense. The president is unfit. Former president, unfit to serve. So I felt at times I was watching an organized crime meeting. When I was in the Senate, I served on the oversight of the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations. We were investigated into organized crime. We had men and women come in wearing hoods, altering their voices so they could be protected. Now we have members of an administration in a lawful country who need to have their voices moderated or covered and appear only in profile for fear they will be harmed. And this, I want to come back to one final point. When members of Congress, those who had the temerity to criticize the president for what he had done, all of these 7 incidents that laid out by Liz Cheney, said that he was responsible for doing these heinous things. They then said, but if he's the party nominee, I'll vote for him. And I'm saying to myself, what? What are you saying? After you've seen everything he has done to the country, you will still vote for him? Is it party over country? Is it party over constitution? Do you have ambition? Is it because you fear his supporters will attack you or your family? What is driving you to say, I know how bad he is. I know what he did to this country, and yet I'll vote for him again if the party nominates him. That, to me, is one of the real crimes of this case. And one final thing, if I can say it, we're looking at whether he was a conspirator or co-conspirator. I would suggest there's also an element, he could be charged with being an accessory before the fact and an accessory after the fact. Crimes were committed on Capitol Hill. And in the traditional law enforcement, if you were anyway a participant by encouraging it or sitting by while it's taking place with a runaway car, then you are an accessory before or after the fact. And so I think they have a lot to look at the Justice Department. And I say make haste immediately, not slowly. Start the investigation. If you haven't started, assemble the grand jury and start bringing in people, including the Secret Service.